Before you let anyone close again, you need to hear this. After 50, what changes inside you isn't just hormones. It's how your body and your emotions speak a new language that most men don't understand. They still respond the old way while your body needs something deeper: patience, warmth, and safety. Once you understand this difference, intimacy stops feeling confusing and starts feeling natural again. I'm Dr. Eliza Hart, a board-certified obstetrician and gynecologist with over 15 years of experience in women's health and hormonal wellness. In my years of practice, I've seen many women over 50 quietly struggle, not because they've lost desire, but because no one ever explained how their hormones, nerves, and emotions truly change after menopause. Their partners often don't see it either. Men still think intimacy works the same way it did 20 years ago, and that gap creates confusion, pain, and distance in relationships that were once full of warmth. You deserve to understand your body again, to know how to restore comfort, circulation, and connection naturally. That's what this talk is about, the real science behind intimacy after 50 and how to guide your body back to balance. If you value honest conversations about women's health, please subscribe and help me reach my first 10,000 subscribers so I can keep growing this community. And in the comments, tell me which country you're watching from. I'd love to see how far this message travels. Now let's start with the silent struggle that so many women carry alone. 1. The silent struggle after 50. For many women, the changes that come after 50 begin quietly: a subtle dryness, a slower response, or a faint sense that intimacy no longer feels as natural as it once did. At first, it's easy to dismiss these shifts as stress, tiredness, or simply getting older, yet beneath those small discomforts lies a profound biological change. Your hormones, which once guided circulation, elasticity, and emotional readiness, are entering a new rhythm that affects how your body responds to closeness. In my years of practice, I've met many women who lower their voices when they admit, "I love him, but my body doesn't respond anymore." They often carry this as guilt or shame, believing it means something is wrong with them. But nothing could be further from the truth. As estrogen levels decline, the inner tissue of the vagina becomes thinner and more fragile, blood flow decreases, and the natural lubrication that once came so easily becomes slower to appear. When these changes go unaddressed, intimacy can shift from something comfortable to something tense or even painful, leading many women to quietly withdraw. That withdrawal, though often protective, brings another cost: emotional distance. When pleasure turns to discomfort, the mind begins to associate closeness with fear or anxiety rather than warmth. Over time, confidence fades, and many women start to question whether their femininity or desirability is slipping away. But this belief has no medical truth. Your body hasn't failed you, it's adjusting to a new balance. What once happened automatically now requires conscious nurturing, stimulating blood flow through gentle movement, staying hydrated, and approaching intimacy without pressure or expectation. In medical language, we call this transition genitourinary syndrome of menopause. But to me, it's something simpler, a silent struggle that too many women carry alone. Most never mention it to anyone, not even their doctors, because they think it's something they must endure. Yet pain, dryness, or loss of sensitivity are not inevitable. Once you understand what's happening and begin to treat your body with the same care you've given others for decades, healing becomes possible. Awareness is always the first step. When you recognize that these sensations are biological, not personal failures, you can begin to rebuild comfort and connection from the inside out. And as that awareness deepens, a quiet confidence returns the feeling that your body still remembers how to respond and that you can guide it gently back to pleasure. Now let's turn to another truth that few people talk about: the way misunderstandings between men and women can quietly shape the experience of intimacy after 50. 2. What men rarely understand. When intimacy begins to change, many women assume their partners will naturally sense it, that they'll understand the slower rhythm, the need for warmth, or the small moments of hesitation. But in reality, most men have no idea what's happening. They see their partner becoming more distant or less responsive and interpret it as rejection, when in truth, her body is simply adapting to a new hormonal landscape that requires a different kind of attention. I've spoken with countless couples who come to me not because of conflict, but confusion. The woman feels pressured and the man feels unwanted. Both care deeply, yet neither understands that the issue isn't emotional distance, it's physiology. After menopause, estrogen and progesterone levels drop, significantly reducing blood flow and nerve sensitivity in the pelvic region. This means arousal takes longer lubrication, comes more slowly, and the body needs more gentle stimulation before it feels ready. Most men are never taught this. They assume what once worked in their 40s or 50s still applies, unaware that a woman's body after menopause speaks a slightly different language, one that begins with safety, patience, and presence. For female desire to awaken the body must first feel calm. The nervous system needs to sense emotional security before blood flow and oxytocin release can occur. Without that sense of safety, the brain sends protective signals that suppress arousal even when love and attraction are still strong. I once treated a woman who told me, "My husband thinks I'm not interested anymore, but I just need him to slow down." Her words reflected something I hear almost daily. Women crave connection, not performance. They need to feel seen, not rushed. When emotional safety is present, when a partner's tone, pace, and touch signal gentleness, the body naturally begins to respond again. This isn't imagination or sentimentality, it's basic neurochemistry. Understanding this can completely transform how couples approach intimacy. When both partners realize that pleasure is no longer about speed, but attunement, the pressure disappears. What replaces it is curiosity, tenderness, and a sense of exploration that many couples have never experienced before. When couples begin to understand these differences, something remarkable happens. Tension gives way to empathy, and both partners finally exhale. Yet there's still another layer to this story, one that lives within your own biology. Inside every woman's body is a quiet, intelligent system that constantly communicates through subtle signals, moisture, texture, and balance. To understand intimacy fully, we first need to listen to what your body has been trying to say all along. 3. The biological language of your fluids. Every woman's body communicates in its own quiet way. Long before pain or discomfort appear subtle, signals begin to whisper that balance is shifting, a change in texture, scent, or moisture that most women overlook until intimacy starts to feel different. These aren't flaws or signs of decline, they're messages from the body about hydration hormone levels and overall cellular health. In medical terms, your natural fluids are far more than lubrication. They're a living ecosystem that protects against infection, maintains pH, and supports the delicate tissue lining your intimate area. When estrogen drops after menopause, this system loses part of its support network. The glands that once produced fluid effortlessly now respond more slowly, and the skin becomes thinner and less elastic. These biological adjustments can lead to dryness, irritation, or a subtle change in sensitivity, all of which are completely normal, but never something you simply have to accept. When women understand this, they begin to see their fluids not as an inconvenience, but as information. I often tell my patients that these changes are the body's way of asking for attention, not punishment. Staying hydrated, adding healthy fats like omega-3s, and using pH-balanced hormone-free moisturizers designed for intimate skin can make a remarkable difference. Small, consistent care often restores comfort more effectively than waiting for a miracle solution. One of the simplest signs of recovery is when a woman tells me, "I finally feel comfortable again." That moment matters because comfort is the foundation of confidence, and confidence is what allows intimacy to become joyful again. Before we move on, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever noticed small changes like these and wondered if they were normal? Share your experience in the comments. Your story might reassure another woman who's been quietly worrying about the same thing. Understanding this biological language is the beginning of a new relationship with your body, one based on awareness instead of frustration. And once that awareness takes root, we can explore how emotion and biology work together to create a deeper sense of connection. The more you listen to these signals, the more clearly you begin to understand what your body needs each day. Something as simple as drinking enough water, reducing caffeine, or managing stress can noticeably influence your body's natural hydration and comfort levels. Your intimate health reflects your overall wellness. When your whole body thrives, this delicate system follows. So instead of fearing these changes, learn to read them. They are your body's quiet invitation to care. 4. The emotional equation of intimacy. Physical comfort is only part of what changes after menopause. The deeper transformation happens inside the brain, in the way hormones, emotions, and the nervous system interact. When estrogen and oxytocin begin to decline, the circuits that once created a spontaneous sense of closeness start to quiet down. This doesn't mean a woman loses her capacity for desire. It means her body now requires a greater sense of safety, patience, and emotional connection before arousal can occur. I often explain to my patients that the female body is not wired to respond to pressure, but to presence. When a woman feels understood and emotionally secure, her nervous system shifts from defense to openness. In that state, the parasympathetic system takes over, blood flow increases, and arousal becomes possible again. This process isn't psychological indulgence, it's neuroscience. The body cannot relax when the mind anticipates discomfort or rejection, and no amount of physical stimulation can override that tension. One of my patients once described this beautifully. She said, "When he stopped rushing and just looked at me, I felt my body wake up." What she felt was the natural rise of oxytocin, the bonding hormone that deepens trust and enhances sensitivity. Intimacy after 50 thrives on this chemistry of calm, where connection replaces performance and understanding replaces urgency. This is why slowing down isn't a loss of passion. It's the rediscovery of it. When you take time to engage emotionally through touch, conversation, laughter, or even quiet presence, your body interprets it as safety, not slowness. The result is a deeper, steadier pleasure that doesn't depend on youth, but on awareness. Recognizing this connection between emotion and biology allows women to reclaim intimacy without fear. The pathway to desire has never disappeared. It has simply changed direction. And once you understand how emotion guides that pathway, communication with your partner becomes far easier because you're no longer explaining a problem, you're sharing a truth. This understanding also transforms how you see yourself. Many women assume they've lost something vital, but in reality, they've gained wisdom, the ability to feel with depth rather than urgency. Emotional intimacy at this stage of life becomes richer, less about performance, and more about trust. And when that emotional foundation strengthens, physical connection naturally follows, creating a kind of pleasure that feels both peaceful and powerful at once. With this foundation of emotional understanding, let's move into a skill that sustains it, learning to express your needs clearly without shame or hesitation. 5. How to communicate without shame. For many women, the most difficult part of this stage is not the physical change itself, but finding the words to talk about it. Years of avoiding the subject, whether from politeness, embarrassment, or fear of being misunderstood, often make communication feel impossible. Yet in every long-term relationship I've seen flourish. After menopause, open conversation is the turning point. It's what transforms uncertainty into closeness and misunderstanding into empathy. I often tell my patients that communication doesn't mean confrontation. It isn't about blame, correction, or defense. It's about honesty, delivered with care. When you approach your partner with openness rather than frustration, you create an atmosphere where both of you can learn together. Many men truly want to help. They just don't know how. And once they're guided gently, they respond with patience, curiosity, and love. If you've never spoken about what feels comfortable or uncomfortable, start with small, simple language. You might say, "I'd love if we could take things slower tonight," or "I feel better when there's more warmth and time." These sentences are not demands. They are invitations. They signal trust. And when trust is present, the body naturally relaxes, allowing desire to return without tension or pressure. In medicine, we know that emotional safety directly influences physical response. When communication is warm and respectful, the brain produces oxytocin, the hormone that reduces fear and increases comfort. It's remarkable how simply being heard can ease physical discomfort that once felt insurmountable. I've seen women who, after a single, honest talk, find that intimacy becomes smoother and more enjoyable again, not because their body changed overnight, but because their nervous system finally felt safe. One patient once told me, "The moment I stopped pretending, I stopped hurting." That sentence stayed with me for years because it captures the truth about this stage of life. Silence keeps the body tense, while honesty allows it to breathe. Communication is the medicine that costs nothing but changes everything. When you share your needs without guilt, you give your partner a chance to meet you with understanding. And from that moment, intimacy no longer feels like something to endure. It becomes something to rediscover together. True connection starts when two people are brave enough to speak, listen, and grow side by side. With this balance of honesty and care established, let's now turn toward the foundation that sustains it all. The sense of safety, health, and confidence that every woman deserves to feel in her own body. 6. Safety, confidence, and hormonal harmony. Feeling safe in your own body is one of the most important foundations of intimacy, yet it's often the one women think about least. After menopause, changes in hormone levels don't just affect mood or energy. They also influence how tissues heal, how resilient the skin becomes, and how well the body protects itself. Many women begin to experience sensitivity or irritation, but hesitate to address it, thinking it's an unavoidable part of aging. In truth, it's not something to endure. It's something to understand and care for. Vaginal and vulvar tissues are incredibly responsive to circulation, hydration, and hormonal balance. As estrogen declines, the tissue becomes thinner and more prone to dryness, while natural secretions, the body's own protective barrier, decrease. This can make even gentle touch feel uncomfortable, creating anxiety that spreads far beyond the physical. The fear of pain often leads women to withdraw, not realizing that the solution lies not in avoidance, but in nurturing those delicate areas back to health. Good hygiene and safety practices make a significant difference. I often recommend using mild, fragrance-free cleansers, maintaining hydration throughout the day, and wearing breathable fabrics that allow the skin to stay dry and balanced. Over-the-counter moisturizers or natural oils like vitamin E or jojoba can help restore softness, but any persistent burning or itching should always be evaluated by a healthcare provider. Sometimes a mild infection or pH imbalance is the real cause, and once treated, comfort quickly returns. Confidence also grows when knowledge replaces fear. Understanding that your body is still capable of healing helps remove the anxiety that often surrounds intimacy. When you feel informed, you begin to relax, and when the body relaxes, circulation improves, oxygen reaches the tissues, and natural sensitivity returns. Hormonal balance is never about perfection. It's about giving your body what it needs to function well at this stage of life. The truth is that safety doesn't diminish desire, it deepens it. Knowing your body is healthy allows you to surrender to closeness without hesitation. That sense of security and self-assurance becomes the quiet spark that reignites connection both physically and emotionally. When you care for your health with consistency, the results appear not just in how you feel, but in how you carry yourself, calm, grounded, and confident in your skin. Now that we've built this understanding of safety and confidence, let's turn to something gentle yet powerful, a nightly ritual designed to help your body restore comfort, warmth, and sensitivity from within. This simple nightly practice is something I've shared with hundreds of women, and many tell me it has quietly transformed how they feel in their bodies. It doesn't require medication, hormones, or expensive products, only consistency and care. The goal is to support circulation, hydration, and relaxation, helping your body regain the comfort and sensitivity it naturally remembers. Begin each night by taking 5 slow breaths to settle your body and calm your mind. Then place a warm compress or heating pad over your lower abdomen for 5 to 10 minutes. This gentle warmth increases blood flow to the pelvic region, relaxes the muscles, and signals safety to your nervous system. It's one of the easiest ways to activate your body's natural repair process, while also preparing for deeper, more restful sleep. Next, drink a full glass of water. Hydration may seem simple, but it directly supports the mucous membranes throughout the body, including those that maintain moisture in your intimate tissues. If you spend your day drinking mostly coffee or tea, this evening, water ritual helps restore the balance your body needs. Finally, apply a few drops of vitamin E, jojoba, or natural plant-based oil to the vulvar area. Massage gently with slow circular motions for 2 to 3 minutes. The goal isn't stimulation, it's restoration. This step improves elasticity, softens the skin, and reminds your body of comfort through gentle, nurturing touch. Breathing deeply as you do this helps the parasympathetic nervous system engage, reinforcing the mind-body connection that supports healthy arousal and relaxation. If you prefer, pair this ritual with light stretching meditation or a calming scent like lavender to deepen relaxation. Over time, these few minutes each evening create noticeable results: improved hydration, fewer sensations of tightness, and a greater sense of connection to your own body. Remember that every woman's body is unique. What works quickly for one may take longer for another, and that's perfectly normal. This practice isn't about chasing results, it's about rebuilding trust with yourself. Treat it as a gentle conversation with your body, one that says, "I'm listening." Consistency matters more than intensity, and over weeks, this habit becomes not just a ritual of care, but a moment of self-respect and calm that your body will begin to look forward to each night. Now, with this foundation of self-care in place, let's bring everything together: the science, the emotion, and the practice into one final reflection on how to reclaim confidence and connection at any age. Everything we've discussed, from understanding hormonal shifts to restoring comfort and trust, leads to one simple truth: your body is not declining, it's adapting. Menopause does not mark an end to intimacy or womanhood. It's an invitation to rediscover them with greater awareness, patience, and care. When you listen to your body, nourish it consistently, and communicate openly, you create the conditions for vitality to return naturally. Remember that healing happens in small, steady steps. Drink more water, move gently, keep your tissues hydrated, and honor rest as much as effort. Every act of self-care tells your body you still matter. Confidence comes not from reversing time, but from working with the body you have today, strong, wise, and deserving of comfort. If this message has spoken to you, please subscribe and share it with another woman who might need reassurance that she's not alone. Your support helps this channel grow and allows me to continue bringing evidence-based guidance to women around the world. Thank you for being here, for caring for yourself, and for reminding others that age is not the end of intimacy, it's the beginning of understanding.